Yes, guys, welcome back to Chasing Green Arrows. We are live. It's Friday afternoon, and we are previewing a very, very important game week. Blank Game Week 29 has been pivotal to wider conversations around chip strategy for some time now. Well, we got 24 hours to that deadline, 23 and a half hours to that deadline. I'm joined all the way from Pakistan by Big Man Bakar, and all the way from San Diego, Dean Jones. First, though, Big Man, how are you doing? When we last spoke, you were a bit in between on your chip strategy. We don't need to do any spoilers necessarily, but have you got a little bit more clearer thinking today?
Hello, Gianni. Hello, Dean. Hello, welcome to all listeners and viewers. I think I'm a bit more clear on my chip strategy at this point in time. I think I will be using all of my free transfers. I still haven't settled on what transfers to make, but I think I'm in a better position opposed to where I was on Wednesday. And I'm hoping this further, that the extra 24 hours that I still have left further bring clarity before the deadline.
Yeah, okay, nice. Dean, what about your calls this week? What decisions have you got to make? You're not on a chip, but you've got a load of free transfers, haven't you?
Well, I'm a bit bored, mate, because I thought I'd done some good planning here to have 4 transfers in the bank and not have to play a chip. And I was like, right, this is the week I can start being different. I can start making some decisions that, actually get me somewhere. Because the last 3 or 4 weeks, I've just been very stable and, if anything, just a slight red arrow. And now the type of choices I've got available to me, the fact that Cole Palmer is like a premium player that is impossible to keep, maybe, has really kind of messed up my plans, because now I look at my transfers coming for the week. I think everyone's going to have all of them. Right. So I'm really going to be basically a very similar team to anyone who's free hitting a wild card in, which was not really the intention when I was holding back these transfers. But equally, there's not really much point of me throwing a chip in and going too wild with it, because I wouldn't be getting much upside from it. So I'm a little bit frustrated at the fact that I don't see how I have a great game week is my problem.
Okay. So you're playing catch up with your transfers to then get a team that a lot of people have got. But
exactly,
you're comparing yourself with what you might see on, say, a Twitter timeline. There's still going to be, remember, a lot at your rank that play way more casually, that probably are faced with 7-8 players this game week. Or what I found really interesting, I'm at the Premier League at the moment. I was just speaking to the guys. I think over 500,000 managers have already hit their free hit chip. There's 11 million in the game. 500,000 have already acted.
Oh, right.
That will tick up a ton when a lot of casual managers check their team for the first time this evening, see they can only get 7 players out and hit the button. We could be looking at almost 1 million free hits in play. It's really interesting this week.
A lot.
Bill says sold Palmer to fund Haaland. Again, that move is gaining momentum. Bruno is gaining momentum after last night. We'll do a poll. Will Cole Palmer be in your game week 29 team? Just a simple yes or no. Big man, he's going to be in yours, isn't he?
He will be in mine. Yes, I have no plans in selling him, at least not this week. I think my team has bigger fish to fry. I will be selling Salah. I have sort of made my bed with it. I've made peace with it. Whether or not I buy him later will depend on how the fixture information emerges. But yeah, Salah is going, Haaland is coming in for me, for sure.
Yeah, I saw that you were doing this. Very unlike you, mate, to be missing Salah for that Everton game. Like, I can't believe that you're taking that punt. I was very surprised when I was watching it on YouTube and seeing that was your decision.
I could see you blushing while I'm speaking about it right now. So, I mean, you don't actually have to tell me that. I could see it from your expressions. I think I'm sort of comfortable with it because, I mean, in the previous stream, we sort of went through the captaincy schedule, and in each of the next 5 weeks, I just don't see a week where I captain him. And let's say if push comes to shove, and if the fixture information emerges where I feel as if I want to bring him back on Wildcard, I can buy him back in 2 weeks. It's fine. As far as game week 30 is concerned, yes, not having Salah against Everton could be brutal. But I think I'm happy having Haaland at home to Leicester. I think Haaland could possibly outscore him in that fixture.
Do you know what, big man? What you need for Salah not to do you too much damage if he does well against Everton, you need everyone to be on Haaland for Leicester. And they will be on Haaland for Leicester. And they will be bringing him in floods if he bangs versus Brighton. If Haaland does well against Brighton, there's going to be so many managers that just see the Man City schedule. They see Leicester at home up next. They go, I could captain Salah, but actually Haaland's just got a hat-trick and blah, blah, blah. Haaland will probably be, well, it depends how he does this weekend as to how captained he is in the game week 30. But by purely a fixtures play, Big Man's got a great point. When you look ahead, there's not many weeks we're going to be captaining Salah. Sure, 30 you can do it at Everton, but arguably Haaland has the better, well, he does have the better fixture. But because we've got double game weeks in 32 and 33, you ain't captaining Salah then. We could have another double or two before the run-in. It's not that many weeks. We do know Liverpool and Mo Salah will not have a double. So, yeah, it's really interesting. Really interesting.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I still want Salah in my team. Don't get me wrong. Like, I don't
Give me
love
34. I could possibly get him on the free hit if needed.
Yeah. Well, I think like since they went out of the Champions League, it kind of changed like how I would view it all. I don't think it would have been that big a deal. I love that you're doing it. Like I think it's encouraging, not just you from a personal point of view, but I think it makes other people that kind of watch the shows that you're on and follow you online that it's you've got to make some brave decisions throughout the season, and I love the fact that you're doing it, because this is you've got to make some choices now that change the game and change your rank, and we're running out of possibilities, right? So I like it. I'm not personally gonna do it, but I need something like that. And it kind of looks weird to me. Like this week, the fact that I'm transferring out Palmer, who is playing, and I'm keeping Salah, who isn't playing, I'm finding it hard to come to terms with.
Yeah, it's a real tricky one, that. Like, a lot are faced with a similar dilemma, but I was surprised to see Palmer is the most sold player, other than Lewis Hall, this game week, and his value's dropping. Guys, do get voting in the poll. Dean, keep us up to date with what the poll says. I can't view the chat. I'm keeping my bandwidth low, so I can see the comments, but I can't see how many are watching.
Right, it's very 50-50. Literally, 51-49 at the moment as to whether Cole Palmer will be in people's game week 29 teams. Yeah, it's extremely close. I mean, how did Cole Palmer get to this moment when he's a £11 million asset in the game that everybody loves, nobody has any qualms about, and we're in a situation where we've barely got any players to field and we still want to get rid of him. I can't believe it's come to this.
I mean, we've got the last 7 games, one attacking involvement for Cole Palmer. It was an assist. It's been really bad. And that includes really good fixtures. Let's just look in today's show. We've got so much to cram in. We got our teams to show, which includes a ton of transfers from both these two. We got my free hit. We got your questions. We've got to go through some bookies odds. We want to go through some fixtures. So look, let's just crack on with some assets now and just go very top line, quick fire, game by game, where we're at. We'll each say a sentence on each fixture. Let's give this a go. So we're going to go in order. I'm going to say a sentence. We're going to go me, Big Man, Dean, in order as on screen. So Everton, West Ham. It could be an outcome on score. It could be a player you like. Guys, we want you playing at home in the chat. We will flash up some of your sentences. So Everton, West Ham, say what you want about the fixture or any goal scorers or clean sheets. I'm going to go. This is going to be a boring, low-scoring game, and I'm tempted on Everton defence in my free hit. That's my summary of that fixture. Big Man?
I think low-scoring Everton win, maybe 1-0, maybe 2-0, something of that sort.
Yeah, mine would just be I want Beto. I want Beto for this fixture.
Nice. I'm 1974 says yawn. I thought he was talking about me, but he's talking about the fixture. Thank you. Glad it's not broadcast, says Taylor. I thought you were talking about us, but you're talking about the fixture. Thank you, guys. Love that. Ipswich Forest. I'm going to go. This is going to be, again, Forest are not going to score loads of goals. I'm surprised so many are going double and triple Forest attack on free hit. Chris Wood's great. I think Chris Wood's enough for this. I think it's going to be like a 1-0 Forest win, like tight game.
I mean, I'm scared to death of not owning Chris Wood in this one, but yeah, I think for Forest will win probably 1 or 2-0 as well.
I want to take a different approach to that fixture because everyone's saying this. And so I've got a theory whereby Ipswich go 1-0 up and actually it forces this game to become way more open and Forest have to really prove their Champions League credentials and actually we see like 3 or 4 goals in this game. So that's possibly more hope than expectation, but I don't want this one to be dull.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, I hope you're right in a way. Guys in the chat, loads backing Forest in a tight game. Alanga getting shout outs. Forest clean sheet, double defence, says Lewis. There we go. Man City, Brighton. Man City going to make this look. Man City going to look good. That's my summary. They're actually going to look like they're semi-back. They're going to beat Brighton convincingly, I think. Big man?
Goals. I think that's the only thing I can think of when I think of this fixture. I think I would back both teams to score maybe even 2 or more goals. Something like 2-2. That would be my prediction.
Yeah.
Mine, honestly, is upset watch. Like, this ruins everyone's game week, essentially. like, we're all so sure that Haaland does the business here, that Man City do get the win. I don't know why we're all so sure about them beating this Brighton team that's won 6 in a row, that actually play really good football, and could definitely carve Man City open. I really feel like this is a game that could really ruin everybody's weekend.
It's going to be interesting to see how City look now they've got a full week on the training ground for the run-in. We're so not
a lot of people will get Haaland though.
I'm on triple City at the moment in my free hit.
Yeah,
but
I might not go. Yeah, I think that's brave.
I might not go Guardiola. I might go double because I do think Brighton can score. It's Guardiola. Let's miss Southampton Wolves. Bournemouth Brentford.
So disrespectful.
What's the point? There's no Cunha. Ain't Nori on free at teams.
Yeah, I mean, exactly.
Yeah, we'll go Bournemouth Brentford. I mean, I love that Bournemouth attack, and Brentford give you chances. Bournemouth are scoring 3 goals plus. I'm going at least double Bournemouth. I could see Brentford scoring 2, by the way, but I think Bournemouth are going to be impressive against Brentford.
High scoring draw, I think. I think something like 2-2 as well. I can see goals in this one. I'll make sure I watch the City Brighton game and the Bournemouth Brentford game. These are the 2 ones on my hit list for tomorrow.
Yeah, it's annoying actually, this fixture, because I've got Cliver and Mbermo. I really want Semenyo, but I don't know if I can handle having so many players involved in one game, like kind of playing the same positions up against each other for points. So it's annoying. I think Semenyo is actually the one to have for this one.
I've got Semenyo, Cliver, and Evan Ilson on my free hit, but I'm only going to start 2 of them. I think I would
only start 2 of those. Yeah.
And I've got Mbermo. Arsenal, Chelsea. I don't know if Arsenal keep a clean sheet or not. Again, this is a big thing for me. Do I go Gabriel on free hit? I don't think I will end up taking Gabriel in. I think it was 1-0 earlier in the season. I wouldn't be surprised to see a tight Arsenal win or a low scoring draw. Big man.
I see this game being low scoring as well. If I had to guess, I'd probably go 1-1. It's a tough fixture to call, though. I don't think it'll be one where it has many goals in it. Dean?
It's funny, a lot of people in the chat are starting to say, I think Palmer will score.
No.
Imagine if Haaland blanks this week and Cole Palmer scores.
Oh my God.
I actually think that Arsenal are way too good for Chelsea. I think they need to prove the golfing class at the moment, and I think they'll get a 2-0 win.
I'm going to do my last 2 as one, so you guys do the same. I'm going to say Fulham to beat Spurs. Spurs tired after Europe, and actually Fulham being slept on free hit teams. Someone like Raul Jimenez doesn't play 90, but 75 minutes of Raul Jimenez could get goals against Spurs. And then United, a comfortable win. I just can't bank on who other than Bruno is good to pick in attack. Like, I would love to punt on Garnacho or Xerxes or Højlund because they're going to get goals. I just don't know where they're going to fall other than Bruno. And I am going for a defender because Leicester can't hit a barn door. So Mazraoui or Dalot will be in my free hit.
Yeah, 100% agree. I would do similar.
I've toying with my team. I was like looking at the Man United assets while that game was going on Thursday, and I was like, I want Mazraoui. I definitely want Bruno. Xerxes, the other one I'm looking at. Like that's the other one I would
He's
really.
playing well, isn't he?
He's playing really well, and I don't think there's any doubt he plays. I was trying to make in my head, like, does he definitely start the game? Because it is sometimes difficult to tell. But they really haven't got that many players, so I think he does, and I don't think it would be a good idea to rest him in this moment.
Andrew, Dorgu is suspended, so Mazraoui plays wing back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's why Mazraoui is a good pick for now. Dorgu would be great to have available.
Yeah, it'd be amazing.
What a pick that would be to have. But yeah, I think Man United. I don't think it will be like that comfortable. Maybe 2-0 or something. And I do think Fulham actually do beat Tottenham too. And I'm kind of kicking myself that I haven't got any Fulham assets. I just honestly don't know who I would want. Like
Andreas back in the 11 now. I was looking at Fulham on free hit. Could I punt on a Smith Rowe we saw Noah Dama last time out. So we saw Iwobi on the right, Smith Rowe and Andreas with a back five. Like I'm like, could I punt on Smith Rowe? But he's not guaranteed.
Oh, Smith Rowe's terrible, mate. Do not pick Smith Rowe. Like he's
against Arsenal, against Spurs as an Arsenal boy. I quite like the narrative.
Mate, I don't know if he'll play. I mean, he's my mates that go to all the games. They cannot believe how poor Smith Rowe has been
of late.
Just
he started so well, didn't he?
And like he's not even putting in the effort. Like there's like a big thing about like this is our most expensive signing. He's supposed to be great, and none of us want him to play at the moment. Like that's not a good place to be. I understand the narrative around it, of course, and maybe there's a chance that it comes through. But yeah, as Colm says, like anybody that's watched the Fulham Brighton game, like you wouldn't want to be picking Smith Rowe right now.
Andreas was much more advanced. I saw the heat map.
Yeah, exactly. And then even up front, like I'd probably go Jimenez ahead of Muniz, but you just never know, like between those two, which one's gonna make the difference. And Muniz does often do it in big games. So yeah, it's a tough call.
Big man, would you be looking at Fulham on free hit? Like Raul Jimenez, we're probably going to get 75 minutes from him. Spurs after Europe. Do you like that call? I mean, let's just go to the list of scorers of bookies' odds, projected goals, because Raul Jimenez features on that list.
Yeah, I'd be very tempted to actually. I don't think I would, because I think when you're looking at Haaland, when you're looking at Evan Nelson, when you're looking at Wood, even Beto, I think there are a lot of good alternatives available. And if there's any slight doubt over, the early substitution for Raul, then I would rather lean towards the guys who are guaranteed for 90 minutes, someone like a Chris Wood. So I think even though he's projected to score better in terms of goals, if you factor in the expected minutes, I think Wood would fare better for projected points. So I think that would be my reasoning of probably overlooking Raul on the free hit, even though I do expect Fulham to win and possibly score 2 goals at least in that fixture.
Yeah, Dean, pick 3 players here from this list for your 3 forwards. I know we've got some midfielders listed, but on my free hit, I've got Haaland, Wood, and Evan Nilsson. What 3 would you pick forwards in your team? And guys, if you want to support the channel in any way, shape, or form, the best way of doing that, Bill, we're going to answer your super chat in a sec, but the best way of supporting that is the subscribe button. We would love you to hit that subscribe button today if you fancy. Loads of you might think you're subscribed, you're actually not. Let the algorithm not dictate what you watch, but you dictate the algorithm by subscribing to channels. So always a good tip there. Don't let YouTube just put stuff in front of you. If you hit the subscribe button, it'll put the stuff you like in front of you.
Yeah, they're suggesting way more stuff recently, by the way, YouTube. Like I've noticed on my own homepage, like I'm getting loads of stuff served to me that like I've never seen before. So yeah, it's really interesting. And sometimes even if you just watch one random video, suddenly you start getting all this other stuff that possibly don't even want. Anyway,
pick 3.
Beto. I'm hot on Beto this week.
Oh yeah.
I think we're overlooking Strand Larsen.
He's a good player.
He's a really good player, and we've just never seen it properly reflected in FPL. So as forwards, I mean, it's just, obviously Haaland's just in a different stratosphere, so it's so difficult to even include him in this conversation. On the cheaper scale, Wood, Strand Larsen, Beto, But if I had to get rid of one of those to bring in Haaland, then it would still get rid of Strand Larsen.
Good stuff, Sean. Don't let these two push the Haaland on you, Dean. I love that. Thanks,
I was
Sean.
already going for Haaland. That's why I'm kind of annoyed about how this has played out. Like, I've had this in mind for like 2 or 3 weeks now, so I can't really go back on it.
Dino making excuses for the videos popping up on his feed. No comment.
Oh, blimey, yeah.
Guys, we will get to your super chats towards the end of the show. If you're happy just continuing to watch, we'll do a dedicated Q&A, and we'll start with Bill's super chat and Brumjot's super chat. But you don't want to rush them. We want to offer you proper answers on all super chats. So thank you, guys. We will get to them, and some regular questions as well. Big man, before we move on, we're going to see our teams. Just anything else on this top projected scorers that you think, like, anyone that we may have missed worth discussing that we hasn't mentioned? Any numbers that look out of place to you here?
I think we've covered all the critical picks. You look at Evan Nilsson, Cliver. I think Semenyo is one who's not featuring in this list, and I still like him as an option personally. I think he's the only one I would like to refer to, and he's someone I think I would have on the free hit ship. I think, Gianni, you're picking triple attack, but you're benching Semenyo, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
Yeah, I've got Evan Nilsson, and
I think I would go. I would go triple Bournemouth attack in the 11. I think it's too good to pass up. When you look at the projected goals, Bournemouth and City are top this week, so I would definitely have triple Bournemouth personally. I would also have Mbomo, by the way. So I mean, just go all in on that fixture Foden. Personally.
Foden's the only one stopping me, so I could get rid of Foden and go Semenyo.
I think that depends on a league tomorrow. Foden should start, though. I mean, I would assume he would.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Guys, let us know in the chat. Who would you prefer? A third, we won't say Semenyo, we'll do a poll. Who would you prefer? A third Bournemouth attacker or Foden? Assuming Foden starts. I won't be putting him in my 11 unless I see a leak. But I think we'll get one. Good stuff, guys. Okay, we're going to see some teams because we've got a lot of discussion points. So look, I think we got Dean's team up first. Usually goes Dean, Big Man, me. So stay tuned for this, guys, and get your questions in as well. Thank you as always for your contributions to the chat.
I have a question quickly on the Man City leak thing. Who leaked the Marmoush thing last week? Where did that come from?
It was a new source, but leaked from Lazy FPL, who do a brilliant newsletter. And Lazy FPL do have their ear to the ground with team leaks with Man City and a few other teams.
Okay.
They actually tweeted to say this is from a new source that they had. Right. So they weren't, take it as you see fit. And they also always tweet their record with leaks because they've got 2 high-profile ones wrong. One was a Grealish one and one was someone else. It's something like 105 leaks, 103 correct or something.
Wow.
Like it's whatever their numbers are, it's really, really good. Like, I will trust what they say. And I think the Grealish one was he actually got
they're
sick,
legit,
right?
For sure. Yeah,
Right.
they're legit.
Yeah.
So Lazy FPL. Get following.
Interesting. I am following right now. Okay, so my team, rather than put the team up, I thought I'll just show the transfers that I am considering. And this is where I'm kind of at right now. 4 free transfers to use, and unless you two can make a good case that I'm doing this wrong, this is what I'm going with to make sure I get to 11 players this week.
Do you prefer Mazraoui to Dalot, mate? Or is it a money thing? Because there's a big price difference there, 4.3 to 5 or whatever it is. Or do you just prefer Mazraoui? Because I've spoken to a few United fans that have told me on free hit to go Mazraoui over Dalot. They'll both be playing wing back this weekend, of course.
Yeah. I prefer Mazraoui anyway, to be honest with you. I couldn't afford, I'm just checking now whether I could even afford to get to Dalot, and I can't. But I prefer Mazraoui anyway as a pick for this one. So yeah, I'm confident with that one. I mean, I guess Beto is the only one that's any sort of gamble here.
Can you reach Evan Nilsson instead? Because Beto's got a dreadful run coming up, and Evan Nilsson's got great fixtures. Is that what you were thinking, Big Man?
But bearing in mind,
I was going to mention Evan Nilsson
very long, is it? it's not going to be my team for very long. And I will have Mo Salah coming back into the team because as a result of these transfers, I'm keeping Salah. So for the Everton Liverpool game, Beto can just go onto the bench and I have Salah instead. And my team's still fine. And then the week after that, I'd probably use a chip. So,
Dean, I think I won't touch on the Palmer versus Salah thing because it's something we've discussed at length. I want to touch a bit on Evan Nilsson versus Beto, though, because while you're right that Beto has a great fixture this week, I think Evan Nilsson can possibly, let's say, match him, if not outscore him. And then let's say next week, if you decide not to wildcard, which could be the case because fixture information, we can only get to know of it in game week 31. So you might not want to wildcard in game week 30. In which case, Evan Nilsson has Ipswich at home in game week 30 and Beto has Liverpool away. So having Evan Nilsson just for that extra security, should you decide not to wildcard in game week 30, would probably suit your team better.
yeah. No, it's completely true. So here's the two issues with it. If I bring in Evan Nilsson, it means I've got 3 Bournemouth. It means I've got Kirkes, Kluivert, and Evan Nilsson. And I've got Mbermo from the same game. So I've got 4 players from that same game.
Yeah, it's going to be 4-2.
That's not an issue. That's not an issue, mate.
And the other
That's
thing
not an issue, mate.
is that I'm just convinced
so
that Beto does well this week against West Ham.
Looking back on the previous week, had you had triple Bournemouth versus Everton, Evan Nilsson scored, Kluivert got an assist, and Kirk has got an assist as well. So I don't see anything wrong with it.
Yeah. Okay, this is why we do the show. I mean, this is, and it's annoying when you suggest things like this because you're usually right, obviously. And so now that's going to play on my mind for the rest of the day.
If we were to do a poll, mate, this one, Evan Nilsson is going to become a bit of a fantasy darling because Bournemouth attack is. It would be a 90-10 poll, this one. Beto versus Evan Nilsson, I think, if we did it with the chat. Maybe we should, but I don't want to put you off at the same time. I do love some of the comments, though. Sean, Dean repeat after me. DCL, DCL, DCL.
DCL did well for me.
Dean's love of Everton's forwards is worrying.
It's not really. This isn't a love of Everton. This is a dismay about West Ham more than anything.
Yes.
And that's kind of where I am with them. But yeah, so you're trying to talk me out of it, and we'll see where I land on it, guys.
I also love Peter. Big man's delay is like a Jorginho penalty.
Yeah, big man takes there's a couple of seconds in between the answers.
We're making the delay work, big man. So just know that it's still flowing absolutely fine. We're just having to be targeted with our chucks to you. But yeah, no, it's good. And guys, thank you for the comments. Dean, let us know how you get on with that. I mean, you'll post your team on Instagram before the deadline, I guess, if we want to see if you do stick with Beto.
I will. Thanks for confusing me, guys.
Love that. Also, Dean, just one final thing for you, just to throw it out there. If you might want to go, and everyone should be thinking of this, just bear in mind with the triple ups, you mentioned triple Bournemouth there. If you've still got your assistant manager chip, just know that you can't then forego Iraola easily if that was a manager you wanted to go and you still had triple. So obviously the triple manager chip for those that have still got them takes up one of your allocation. Don't let that slip because that's something that I think will happen quite a bit.
Yeah, fair point. Yeah.
There we go. Josip says Beto's 90 minutes versus Everton Nilsson 70. Yeah, fair point. And by the way, Nikolai said Evan Nilsson won't start in 30. I don't think so. I think he does start in 30. I don't think one FA Cup game versus Man City throws Bournemouth too much. Evan Nilsson's good. We see teams playing twice a week a lot in the Champions League. Why can't Bournemouth do it for 1 week? Let's move on. We got someone else's team share, I think. It's usually Big Man after Dean, I think. Yeah, we go. So, Big Man, you have 3 free transfers.
Yeah, this is me.
Where are you at with, just before you tell us your transfers, percentage chance you wildcard? You were at 50% in the week. Are you now, is it dead and buried, no wildcard definite, or is it still maybe a 20% chance, for example?
Yeah, I mean, I sort of alluded to it earlier in the show. I've decided against it. I want to sort of mention why. There were 3 reasons why I decided against it. Firstly, I did make a Wildcard 29 draft, and I have actually really, really seriously considered that strategy over the past couple of days. It wasn't clickbait, guys. Actually, it wasn't. But when I look at my Game Week 29 draft to my current team, after transfers, I don't think there'll be a huge difference, firstly. Secondly, obviously, I would like to wildcard at a time when we have more information on the blanks and doubles, and this week feels like a bit sort of counterintuitive going in without having any information, because then I might sort of have to, second guess how the fixtures would pan out. And thirdly, I think I mentioned this in the previous show as well, that there's a risk that if I wildcard this week, I might end up picking some of the wrong doublers. So, for example, I would want to load up on Newcastle and Palace on my bench this week, but I might not have Mateta because there's not enough information on Mateta available. I might not have Gordon. But by the time I wildcard in 30 or 31, I might have that information available. So my team in 30 or 31, should I wildcard, could end up looking a lot different to what it would if I wildcard right now. So it's a combination of all these factors, which is why I've sort of decided against the wildcard. Coming to my team and transfers, I think I will definitely be buying Haaland for one of my strikers. I'll be selling Salah as well. Now, I could buy Semenyo, Clivert, Bruno Fernandes, one of these guys, maybe even an Arsenal attacker, someone like an Odegaard, depending on my strategy going forward. I could wildcard in 30, I could wildcard in 31, depending on the health of my team. If, let's say, we get some fixture information by 30, I might wildcard in 30. The third transfer I think that I will be making is whether I have to decide whether I basically sell someone like an NDF and Evan Nelson to bench Dango, or whether I sell Trent to Guardiola to bench Colwill. So I understand a lot of this is a bit confusing, and I don't want to take up a lot of your time, but it is generally confusing as to what I do. But like, the things that are happening for sure are that I'm getting Haaland, I'm selling Salah, and the rest is still sort of up for debate.
Mate, you can take up all the time in the world. You are former world number 4, an absolute opinion that is required, that keeps this channel maintaining very high professional standards. So I love all that, and I think it looks like you know what direction you're likely to go in. You mentioned possibly selling Trent to Gvardiol and then benching Colwill, or it's a midfield transfer on, say, Dango. It's likely one of those things. So it will either be Dango or Trent that exits your team. If it was Dango, you mentioned Semenyo. Is that because you can't afford Cliver?
Not necessarily Dango. No. Let me clarify. So the first option, firstly, I have to decide whether or not I decide to play Dango or not, right? So if I decide to risk Dango in the 11, because I'm not taking a hit either way. If I decide to risk Dango in the 11, then I'm selling Trent to Guardiola, and then I'm playing Guardiola and I'm benching Colwill. I'm risking Dango in that case, right? That's the first scenario. The second scenario is that I can decide to bench Dango, and I can do, let's say, NDI to Evan Nelson, and then I'll just carry Trent into next game week, and then next game week I can sell Trent for Guardiola if need be.
Yeah. We still don't. What did you make of the trend?
I'm currently. Yeah, I mean, I'm currently leaning towards not playing Dango because I just don't think he's going to start. So I think I'm leaning towards buying Evan Nelson, to be honest, for India, just so that I can bench Dango. And then once game week 30 comes about, we'll have information on likely to start against substitution game week 30. Then I can play him in my 11. And if not, I'll have Evan Nelson anyway, who will likely start anyway over him. So, yeah, it depends. I could just postpone the Trent to Guardiola move till game week 30, I guess. That's doable because I have Colwill to cover, I guess.
Yeah. Dean, Gvardiol and Colwill, I guess you're backing them both to blank this weekend anyway.
Honestly, yeah, this is the thing. Like, I don't think that either of those teams keep a clean sheet. I mean, the upside of Gvardiol is that he can get involved in the goals at the other end. So I still think Gvardiol is a half decent bet, and of course they could keep Brighton at bay. I just can't see that Colwill can keep a clean sheet against Arsenal, but you got to
noticed with Gvardiol.
I mean, it is slim pickings this week. When you look at the clean sheet odds, the highest clean sheet odds are for Everton at 37%. All the rest are 35, 30%. So clean sheets are unlikely to come by this week. And I hear you on Guardiola, and that's why I think I'll probably defer that move till next week, because I do expect Brighton to score. It's just the advantage of making that move this week is that if by any chance Dango uh, ends up winning his place back in the 11 and he starts in game week 30, then I don't need to have used the transfer on my attack. Then I could have possibly saved a transfer game week 30 by doing Trent to Guardiola this week.
I see why you're tempted by Dango in 30, but we're just not going to know. And you're going to go into 30 going, does he get a 10-minute cameo? Probably. I'm still going to want to bench him. So it's a really tricky one because you don't really get leaks on Bournemouth teams. But I mean, with Gvardiol, I just want to give it a mention. I've been looking into this as obviously on a free hit. Gvardiol is top of the sort of defender bracket. Do I go there or not? Just want to mention earlier this season, he was a beast, and the end of last season for goal threat. We all see Gvardiol galloping down the left, providing the width. Since Doku's been in the team, Gvardiol isn't as advanced, but also the biggest change in recent weeks is Matheus Nunes playing right back. I just want to mention in attack, Matheus Nunes steps forward. Gvardiol therefore doesn't. It often looks a bit like a back three with Gvardiol at the left centre back. So in recent weeks, especially, you look at Gvardiol. I've not even looked at his XGI numbers, but I've watched the games. I've seen the average position maps. I guarantee his XGI in recent weeks, unless he's had a couple of set piece like headers, absolutely minimal. It will be an open play. So I'm just reading now, 0.18 XGI, 0.02, 0.05, 0.03 in his last four.
Yeah, you're
Big
right.
man, you're going to say something.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I want a final opinion before we move on from my team. I want a final opinion on which midfielder should I buy to replace Salah. So my options are Kluivert, Semenyo, Odegaard, Fernandes. I guess Fernandes has the best fixture this week, but when you look at the fixtures next week, I guess Bournemouth have Ipswich at home, so it sort of balances out. If I knew I was wildcarding in 30, I think I'd probably go Fernandes. And there is like a 30 to 40% chance that I do wildcard next week. But it's sort of tough to figure out where to go. So these are the four options that I have, and I'd like to sort of hear your opinions on what to do.
For me, if you're wildcarding in 30, if you think you will, but it sounds like you think you probably won't at 30, 40, then you do go Bruno because it's amazing. But if you think 31 wildcard's more likely, it's Kluivert over Semenyo for me. I'd risk Kluivert versus Ipswich. I love Bournemouth attackers we've discussed. Dean?
Yeah, I guess also which one would do you most harm, because you've got to be a bit careful at your rank. You don't want to be losing out. Like everyone buying Bruno, which one do you feel is going to, do the worst damage, I guess. Just because Bruno scored a hat-trick, though, doesn't mean that gets repeated against Leicester, right? I personally still think Kluivert v Semenyo, I think Kluivert's the better pick overall, but I think I've just got a feeling about Semenyo this week, and I'm kicking myself that I haven't got him. So you're in a tough situation there, mate. I don't think you can win. You're just taking a lucky guess.
Yeah, it is tricky. Yeah, Bruno's ownership will surely rise after the hat trick. He's one of the most popular transferred in players this week, and Kluivert is actually 32% owned. That is ridiculously high. So if you're talking about ownerships, Bruno and Kluivert will be the biggest risks, I feel.
Yeah, it feels like that. But yeah, I guess it's whether you believe truly that Bruno is going to go and bang again. He's in good form, obviously, but they are pens largely. Like to see a game like that where so many pens are dished out is pretty rare. But that's not to say it won't happen again.
Stat earlier from the fantasy show I was on, we compared Bruno and Kluivert, right? And Kluivert's had 6 penalties this season. Bruno's had 3, both 100% records. Bruno has had 13 big chances. He's scored 3 of them. Now, the 3 of the 13 he scored were all pens. Bruno has had 10 open play big chances this season, and he's missed every one. That is unbelievable. He missed 100% of his big chances. So that's really unfortunate.
That was when I owned him early in the season.
Exactly. I was going to say that was a different Bruno. Like that was a different version of the player that unfortunately Big Man felt the pain from. Yeah.
Yeah, it really was. Okay, Big Man, good stuff. Well, look, fair play for your Salah commitment. You've said it earlier in the week. You said it last week. You're going no Salah, you're going Haaland. And yeah, you're playing your own game. I like that very much. No one can accuse you, I don't think, of being template with this one. So yeah, well played for sticking to your guns. Hopefully, it's a good outcome for you.
Thank you.
Good stuff, guys. We are going to get to those.
Moving
questions
on, is it Gianni's team? Gianni?
Yeah, we'll do my free hit. We'll do my free hit. And Big Man, I was keen to know your thoughts and yours, Dean. I'm just going to give you the 11 because on free hit, you only really care about the 11. You often don't need subs. Obviously, I'm going to have a good bench. At the moment, I've got the locked emoji on all these players. I'm going to just go out there now and say I might swap Pickford for Sells because I'm just worried of save points. I don't think West Ham will have a sniff, but I feel like Sells could get the save points and bonus that Pickford won't. And I still back Forest as good a chance as a clean sheet, I think. So I could revert my decision on goalkeeper. If I go Sells, I could go Mikalenko as a defender, I guess. I'm definitely going Aït-Nouri and Dalot. Or, sorry, Aït-Nouri and a Man United defender. It could be Mazraoui after getting Dean's take there on Mazraoui especially. And Dean is a closet Man United fan, for those that don't know. His take on United is always very valuable. The big discussion points for me are, who's my third defender? Is it Gvardiol? Is it a Forest defender? Is it Mikalenko? Is it Gabriel? I don't think I'll go with Gabriel. I've not had him since game week 20 anyway. And then it's, do I go Semenyo or a Man City leaked midfielder? I will only pick Foden or De Bruyne if we hear a leak. If I hear De Bruyne starting, he's my number one.
Would you really pick De Bruyne? Like, really?
If he's starting, yeah.
Would you?
He won't start, though. He won't start. He doesn't start.
If someone told me now that he was starting, I still wouldn't even be giving him a thought.
Mate, when De Bruyne gets minutes, he gets points. Yeah, even though he's overweight or injured.
Got my San Diego FC shirt here. Like, this is what he's going to have on in a few months' time. Like, that's where Kevin De Bruyne's at.
What do you make with these question marks then, mate? Where are you at with defenders? Well, more and is it Semenyo or a triple Bournemouth attack, or is it a City attacker?
I personally I don't like those City. I don't like the Foden De Bruyne thing really. I'd even go as far to say as I'd rather have a Brighton midfielder.
Oh,
I'd rather have Minte or Mitoma. I honestly
think I would have Semenyo. I think the rest of the team is fine.
Yeah, I mean, Semenyo is a better pick than all of them. I think Semenyo's a better pick than all of them. But I'm just saying, like, I'm that unconvinced about Man City that I would rather have a Brighton player there.
What about Forest attack, Dean? Should I be looking at a Hudson-Odoi or a Langer or a Gibbs-White alongside Wood?
So my take on Forest is obviously that, like, for the run-in, I still think people are going to underplay how good they're going to be, and I think we're all going to need 3 Forest assets going into the final stretch. So when we using our wild cards and all that sort of stuff within the next couple of weeks, I'm going triple Forest, no doubt about it, because I believe they're going to book Champions League football, and I think that their upcoming fixtures are spot on. Would I start that right now? I don't think I'd go triple Forest right now, no. But I do think having a Forest defender for this week is probably a good idea. So Aina, Milenkovic, Sells potentially. Yeah, I'd have one of those because I think that we are heading towards a time when Forest are going to be. There's every reason to believe that they're going to be one of the most dependable teams. Everyone's seems to be struggling to adjust with the news that Forest could genuinely finish third in the league. And I understand it, but when you look at what they've achieved so far, we've got they're basically Leicester City of when they won the league. They've got the consistent lineup. We could all name the team. They're playing the same way. And 10 of their 11 games that are left, they've already beaten those teams this season. So there's every reason to believe that they should carry this on, not could carry it on, should carry it on. And I'm not as concerned about their away form as other people are. So, I think you should get in a Forest defender.
Big Man, would you pick a Forest defender or goalkeeper? What would you change from my back four there?
Maybe go with someone like a Williams over Aït-Nouri, but I don't think that's a huge upgrade. I think it's a bit of a coin flip. I wanted to touch a bit on the Forest mids that you were referring to. So now when we were going through the fixtures early on, I assume you said that Forest would win narrowly 1-0, 2-0. I would think similar. I would think maybe 2-0. But let's say they score 2, you'd expect Chris Wood to be involved, but none of their midfielders actually have very high goal involvement. So you look at the likes of Elanga, Gibbs White, Hudson-Odoi, all those kind of guys, and they have, different varying goal involvements. It feels like a toss of the coin getting it right. Like genuinely, I won't be sure which one to pick, and even if I do, and they end up winning 2-0, I'm still not sure whether they'd be involved.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I've pretty much made my first draft had Gibbs White, and I've made my decision there. It's going to be single attack and just Chris Wood. My big decision though is around the back. Like, big man, would you be picking Gabriel? Because I've not had him in my team since game week 20.
I would have a place one
every week, but I feel like Chelsea are, I mean, even Chelsea only scored 1 against Copenhagen. We're not scoring many goals.
Yeah, I'd have one Arsenal defender, I think.
Yeah, Dean, Gabriel over Gvardiol for you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't like the Gabriel pick at the moment, but I'd still have him over Gvardiol at the moment. I just feel like Gabriel is just a bit overpriced, but I do feel like it's going to be a struggle for Chelsea to score in this game unless it's a penalty.
Cucurella, get him in, says Maliki. I can't.
Do you reckon Cole Palmer will take a penalty, by the way? If they do get a penalty in this game, does Cole Palmer still take it?
Yeah, definitely.
Really?
Yeah, he will. He will, and he'll score it. Yeah, okay, interesting. Guys, I must admit, just want to throw it out there because a lot of you are on free hit. I have never looked at this week and thought it was a fun, good-looking free hit week. And I still don't think that now. And I think this team shows it. I think you're all looking at this team going, Gianni might get 10 points on me this week, but he's not going to, he's not going to set the world alight with his team. You can back against the obvious, and there maybe are more fun picks to go. I've gone quite safe with the likes of Kluivert and Bermo, Wood, Gabriel. Those 4 players, by the way, not in my actual team. I bet against them every week, but I'm going fairly slow and steady with this. It's more for me what you can do the weeks around the free hit. And as I've mentioned before, I've benefited from free hit 29 already by being able to buy Ismail Assar and Dan Burn last week for nearly 20 points. So I don't expect much. And I think if you're thinking about free hitting out of nowhere, probably don't. Probably don't. I don't think it's a great week. I think there's better upside weeks to chase. All right, guys, thank you very much for your comments and your opinions. Let's move on and answer some questions. Guys, we would love you to hit that subscribe button as well. We've got 5 minutes left of the show, but you can support in any way. The best way is to subscribe. And thank you for your super chats. First up, Dean, I'm going to let you answer Bill's question. And then the next super chat, I'm going to come to you, big man.
Okay, thanks for this, Bill, by the way. Kluivert and Gvardiol or Bruno and Kirkes. And would you take a hit, Isak to Wood? Okay, he's keeping Palmer. Okay, so the first part, Kluivert and Gvardiol v Bruno and Kirkes. It's difficult because I like one midfielder. And I like one
this as well, big man. So get thinking.
So I personally think I would go Bruno and Kirkes. And then I would take a hit on Isak to Wood. Yeah, I would. I at this stage of the season, I think I would.
To you, big man, on that last question, big man, and then yeah.
I think I would probably go Kluivert and Gvardiol for the next 2 fixtures. I think they offer a better combination, even though I sort of prefer Bruno to Kluivert. I would only take the hit if you don't have, let's say, a playable attacker or a playable player on the bench. Then it makes sense to make that transfer. But I mean, I think I would look at Evan Nilsson as well. I'm really a huge fan of him, and so is Gianni. So I think maybe Evan Nilsson over Wood. I assume you have ignored him for this long, so I think this is another week where you can potentially take the risk for someone who has similar upside.
I don't think I've ever picked Evan Nielsen, by the way. I was thinking about this after you two were talking about it. I don't think I've ever had Evan Nielsen in my team. Not that I've had Beto either, by the way, but
You had DCL, same thing.
Same.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, I've not. I mean, we've not been out. We've only had the luxury this season, but yeah, I'm with you. And it's so cheap. It's so cheap. 5.6. Those Bournemouth attackers next season are going to have big price rises. Question for you, big man, coming up on screen now.
Easy one to take in this. It's
Oh
like an
my days.
equation.
So that. Okay, so I'll get through it one by one. Firstly, I think if you're on a wild card, I think you can go with Raya and Henderson, because Raya has a good fixture this week. He then has a double in 34 as well, and Henderson can cover you with game week 32. So that would be my goalkeeper preference. Coming to the defense, I don't think I'd have Konate because Liverpool don't have any doubles. Dean is laughing. Dean, you're distracting me. Let me do my work.
I'm laughing at Gianni trying to do the horses.
I think the midfield is fine. I think I would pick very similar. Apart from Salah, maybe I think I would probably have someone else. And I would just spread that cash in defense because the defense looks weak. I would have Gabriel. I would have Guardiol in defense. So use the Salah cash, use it now on the defense to get better keepers and defenders. The attack is fine. I would probably have Evan Nielsen over Beto, but the rest is okay.
Thank you, CH, for your suggestion. I think I crooked my neck. I reacted to CH saying, can you put your head, for those watching on catch-up, going, what was that idiot doing? CH requested, she said she needed a laugh to get my head within the horse's face and show the ears. But I definitely crooked my neck doing that. So I'm glad I bought my memory foam pillow to stay in a travel lodge tonight, because I'm definitely going to need it. Odegaard or Trossard? Odegaard for me, Freddie, but fair play. Stop messing around.
About Trossard, though, you know, I don't think Trossard's a bad bet for this week. I was thinking about it, and I also, do you know what? As my other midfielder, I was thinking, why don't I just go on Marino for a week?
Number 9.
It's like, it's not the worst idea in the world, is it?
Arsenal aren't going to score. It's going to be 0-0 that. Or 1-1.
I would be worried for his spot, though. I mean, I think there's a world where Martinelli, Trossard, and Vanelli start. That's the issue.
Yeah, that is the issue. I agree.
I like
G. This is for you.
Yeah, Williams and Morgan Gibbs-White would be 2 Forest. Oh, I don't think you need much more than Chris Wood, mate. I'm just gonna say I'm not a big fan of the double Forest attack, but I've not owned Chris Wood all season. This is my first week owning Chris Wood.
No way.
Yeah, I know. How bad is that? Savinho over Foden. I don't love it, Matt. I mean, I know Savinho. Look, I'm only going Foden if we hear he starts. But surely, if you were told Savinho starts and Foden starts, you're picking Foden. Like, Savinho looks great on the eye and he's getting the game time. Is he really getting the FPL points? I don't think so. Marmoush on free hit if we get a leak. Okay, good question. Unfortunately, he takes up one of the 3 attacking spots. And I really like Evan Nielsen. I really like Wood. But Big Man and Dean, just quickly, if we hear Marmoush starts, do you prefer Marmoush to a starting Foden? Starting Marmoush, starting Foden, pick one.
Marmoush, 9 times out of 10.
Wow. Big Man?
Marmoush as well. Yeah.
Even though it would mean no Evan Nielsen.
Honestly, I was toyed with the idea of playing 2 Man City forwards for this week.
Okay, so here's something I could do with my team. I could go Evan Nielsen out.
It's basically
it's basically instead of Foden. Been thinking about that. Big Man, you like it?
I think that is better, actually.
I think that's better.
I've been thinking about that. I just don't know if we get a Marmoush leak. Yeah,
league dependent.
Yeah, that is firmly on my mind.
With these leaks, though, do they like literally name the Man City team? Like, what do we get from this? Like,
last week's leak was just Marmoush. We heard one player only. Marmoush is benched, and Marmoush was benched.
So you won't necessarily be like, the leak is not going to be like, oh, Marmoush is back in.
No, although FPL Tony is still leaking Man City news, and he could come good this weekend. He also has a patron, by the way, FPL Tony. So it might, he might leak something on there. Don't know.
Yeah, fair enough.
Sally, Salah Palmer to Bruno Cliver. Ooh, I can't. I'm struggling. A Big Man, this might be one for you.
I I think I would go. I would do the first move. I think for 2 Salah.
Getting rid
Best
of
defender
Salah and
punt under
Palmer.
5.5. I'm going to say Kirkes is a good option, but I like 8 Nori. If it depends how long for, though. Wissa not a good option on free hit. I don't think so. I think if you're going to go a Brentford attacker, it's Justin Burmo, but you could even back against Brentford completely. Dean, Brentford.
Yeah. I mean, again, I'm going to throw Nottingham Forest into the picture here, like Ole Einar or Milenkovic as options. Like Einar's 5 million. Oh, well, I got him at 5. I think up to 5.3 now. But I'm not really that concerned about like Ipswich, Man United, Aston Villa, Everton. So you got Ipswich away, fine. Man United at home. There's no reason to think that Man United are going to score at the City ground, to be honest. Aston Villa away. Well, Villa have now got the Champions League to think about, and that's going to have to be their priority. Everton at home. I just think that Forest have got a really nice run.
Yeah, fair. Michael, we've run out of time. I just don't take lots of hits, is my opinion on that. We would love to get to 100 likes by the end of the show. Maliki, thanks for reminding us. And Max.
I haven't done the old like and subscribe either, but if you have enjoyed it, please do give us a like and a subscribe if you haven't already. You probably already have if you sat through the last hour, but you never know.
Good stuff. Guys, we will be back. I don't know when, so hit the notification bell to know when. We've obviously not got any FPL now till like the 4th for like 3 weeks, so don't know when we'll be back. Guys, thank you as always. We have had loads of fun, but for now, he's been Big Man, he's been Dean, I've been Gianni, and a horse's head. You lot have been the amazing chasers, and we'll see you next time. Good luck this game week. Bye bye.